Hey, welcome YouTube. I'm Aniket and you are watching Vet Study. So today we are going to discuss about the Streptococci. This Streptococci group have different bacteria, you can say, and the bacteria under this group are Streptococcus, Enterococcus, and Peptostreptococcus. Okay, and these group of bacteria can infect many animal species, and they generally cause the suppurative conditions like mastitis, metritis, polyarthritis, and meningitis. So the general characteristic of these bacteria are as follow: that bacteria they present in chain like this. Okay, and they are cocci shape and they are gram positive. After this, they are catalase positive. So what do we mean by catalase positive? That they produce the catalase enzyme. They are oxidase negative. It means that they do not produce the oxidase enzyme. They are facultative anaerobes, they are non-motile, and they are fastidious. This is important. Staphylococcus bacteria was not fastidious bacteria, but yes, streptococci are fastidious. It means that they require enriched media. It may be enriched with blood or serum. Okay. After this, they are commensals on mucous membrane and lower urogenital tract or respiratory tract. Okay. After this, we have yes, they are susceptible to desiccation. They are delicate bacteria and they cause pyogenic infections, suppurative conditions, as we have discussed: mastitis, metritis, polyarthritis, meningitis like conditions. We have different groups in this genera like Streptococcus, Enterococcus, and Peptostreptococcus. Okay. After this, we have usual habitat. As we have discussed that they are commensals of upper respiratory tract and lower urogenital tract. They are opportunistic pathogen and their distribution is worldwide. Okay. The three group are Streptococcus, Enterococcus, and Peptostreptococcus. This Streptococcus pneumoniae, they occur in slightly pear-shaped cocci, and they are the pathogenic strain of Streptococcus pneumoniae have thick capsule and they produce mucoid colony. So this is the peculiar character of these bacteria. After this, they cause basically pneumonia in case of humans, guinea pig, and rat. And now we have Enterococcus. Enterococcus are enteric streptococci and they are found in the intestinal tract of animal and men. They are also opportunistic pathogen, and the difference between streptococci pneumonia and the Enterococcus, basically they can tolerate bile, and if they tolerate bile, it means that they can grow on McConkey agar, and the colonies on McConkey agar is red and pinpoint, okay, in appearance. After this, we have Peptostreptococcus enterococcus, and Peptostreptococcus enterococcus is an anaerobic streptococcus, and this caused the summer mastitis in bovines with Trupperella pyogenes. Okay, so Peptostreptococcus enterococcus with Trupperella pyogenes caused the summer mastitis. After this, we have differentiation of streptococci. How we can differentiate the different group of streptococci. Okay, so there are three methods. You can say three laboratory procedures by which you can differentiate between these three groups. The first is the type of hemolysis. The second is the lens-filled grouping, and third is the biochemical testing. The first is hemolysis, type of hemolysis. So remember this, that the hemolysis here is different from the hemolysis produced by the staphylococcus. As we have read that hemolysis produced by staphylococcus, the alpha hemolysis produce narrow and complete hemolysis, but here scenario is changed, that alpha hemolysis is partial and incomplete. So remember this point. Okay, and this is just opposite to staphylococcus hemolysis. Okay, and beta hemolysis produce complete hemolysis, clear zone around the colonies, whereas alpha produce partial, incomplete, and greenish zone, hazy zone is produced. And the third hemolysis is the gamma, which is there is no observable change in case of gamma hemolysis. Next and the most important is the lens-filled grouping. This lens-filled grouping is very, very important. Okay, you must remember this point. Lens-filled grouping, how we can differentiate the different kind of you can say the species on the basis of a lens-filled. So lens-filled grouping is a serological method of classification, and it is based on the C substance. So what is C substance? C substance is nothing but it is a polysaccharide in cell wall, and this can be done in two ways: the ring precipitation test and the latex agglutination test. So what is the difference between precipitation and agglutination? So basically, precipitation in case of precipitation, the antigen size is smaller, whereas in agglutination the antigen size is larger. So this is the only difference between the precipitation and agglutination, that the antigen size is different. Okay, so it is smaller in case of precipitation and it is larger in case of agglutination test. So first we will discuss about the ring precipitation test. In ring precipitation test, we will extract the C substance, which is our antigen, by heat or acid method. Any method can be used. Okay, and antigen extracted is layered over antisera. So what is antisera? Antisera is the serum which have specific antibodies. Okay, so we have antisera of different specificities. Next, if there will be positive reaction, then white ring formation will occur, white ring precipitation will occur in 30 minutes. Okay, so what we do, we basically put a specific antiserum in this, and after this we will put the antigenic extract. If the antibodies are similar to the antigenic extract, it means the antibodies the antigen is similar, then there will be the ring precipitation. And if this ring is formed, then we can say that this bacteria is of this group. Okay, so and because this specific antisera is known to us. Okay, so by this is just like lock and key. This lock is known to us, and this lock will only fit in a specific key, or you can say this key will only fit into a specific lock. So if one is known to you, then you can identify the other. So this, if this specific antisera is known to you, then you can identify the antigen, which type of antigen or which type of bacteria is this. Okay, so this is the ring precipitation test. Similar is latex agglutination test. In latex agglutination test, what we do, we basically latex particles are used, and latex particles are coated with specific antibodies. So this is latex particle, and this latex particle is coated with specific antibodies, as you can see. These specific antibodies are also, specific to certain bacteria. Now group antigen is extracted enzymatically, but here we extract the antigen by heat or acid method. Here we extract the antigen by enzymatically, right? Now a drop of antigen is mixed on the plate with drop of latex antibody suspension. When you put a drop of antigen, what will happen? If the antigen and antibodies are of similar type, then there will be positive reaction and there will be agglutination. Means all particles will combine with each other. So agglutination will occur in 1 minute. If they are of different type, then there will be no agglutination. So this is as simple. And this is lens-filled grouping. So this is very important, lens-filled grouping. Now we have third one, that is biochemical testing. In case of biochemical testing, this biochemical testing is used for rapid biochemical identification, and a short range of sugar fermentation test may be carried out in case of isolation of streptococci from horses. So it is not generally used basically. After this, now we have pathogenesis and pathogenicity. So what is the difference between pathogenesis and pathogenicity? So basically, pathogenesis is the development, how diseases develop is known as pathogenesis. Okay, and whereas pathogenicity, it is basically the quality of pathogen to cause the disease. Okay, so this is the difference between pathogenicity and pathogenesis. So the streptococci are pyogenic in nature. They cause pyogenic infections, and they form abscess, suppurative condition, and septicemias, right? And after this, they produce beta. Those streptococci which produce beta hemolysis, they are more pathogenic comparatively to the alpha hemolysin producing streptococci. The virulence factor includes the enzyme and exotoxin. And after this, we have streptolysin, streptokinase, hyaluronidase, DNase, and protease. So these are certain enzymes which are produced, or you can say exotoxin, which are produced and which act as virulence factor in case of streptococci. There are some antiphagocytic factors which inhibit the phagocytosis of these bacteria. These include polysaccharide capsule and cell wall M protein. Cell wall M protein is a special type of protein which is present in cell wall, which inhibit the phagocytosis of these bacteria. Polysaccharide capsule present in case of Streptococci pyogenes and Streptococci pneumonia. Cell wall M protein present in pyogenes E. coli and porcinus. Okay. And if these anti-phagocytic factors are removed from the bacteria, then they will be easily phagocytized by the phagocytic cells. Okay, so these are main virulence factor, you can say, which provide protection to these bacteria. After this, we have diagnostic procedure, how we can diagnose these bacteria. So diagnostic procedure are simple. Diagnostic procedure includes three things: history, clinical sign, and pathology. Three things. Okay, so the diagnosis is based on these 3 points. After this, we have sample. Sample may be pus or exudate, as we know that these are pyogenic bacteria. Exudate, and these swabs are these exudate collected on swab, and you can also do the microscopy, and in microscopy you will see chain of gram-positive cocci, and you can culture them on blood agar, selective agar, and McConkey agar. In McConkey agar you will see only the fecalis, E. fecalis, Enterococcus fecalis, and culture should be you should provide condition like aerobic condition and 37 degrees Celsius, and the time should be from 24 to 48 hours. If you want to identify the Streptococci colonies, then the colonies are small, translucent, and some colonies may be mucoid. You can also identify different species on the basis of type of hemolysis, and there will be no growth on McConkey agar except Enterococcus fecalis, as we have already discussed. You can also differentiate them on the basis of Lensfeld grouping and biochemical test profile. Lensfeld grouping, we already discussed what is Lensfeld grouping. Okay. We have clinical infection, and as we know that streptococci are commensals on mucous membrane. So many streptococcal infection are opportunistic in nature, and infection may be primary, as in case of strangle. We will discuss this strangle. Okay, and they may be secondary, as in case of streptococcal pneumonia. So streptococcal pneumonia is secondary in case of viral infections, right? And in this, the lymph node, genital tract, and mammary gland may be infected. Neonatal septicemia are often related to the maternal genital tract infection. Streptococci pyogenes is one of the major human pathogen, and it is occasionally associated with the bovine mastitis, tonsillitis in case of dogs, lymphangitis in case of fowl. The streptococci of animal origin are of limited public health significance. It means they are limited to animal, except streptococci suis. This streptococci suis cause severe infection in case of individual working with the pigs. And the group B streptococci cause disease in human infant appear to be distinct from the animal strain in this group. Okay, so this is the major public health significance importance, streptococci suis. Other are generally animal origin related. And after this, we have streptococci canis, and this streptococci canis is a very significant pathogen of dogs, and it is associated with neonatal septicemia. Many suppurative conditions and recently toxic shock syndrome is associated with this Streptococci canis. So this is the general brief. Now we'll discuss in detail. Okay. The first species is Streptococci pyogenes. This Streptococci pyogenes species, the general habitat of this species is upper respiratory tract. And the disease caused by Streptococci pyogenes is scarlet fever and rheumatic fever. Remember, this scarlet fever and rheumatic fever occur in men because the host is men, not other animals. Next is Streptococci agalactiae. This Streptococci agalactiae cause chronic mastitis, and the habitat is milk duct and vagina, and they may also cause the neonatal septicemia. And the hosts are cattle, sheep, goat, man, and dog. So huge, wide range of host. You can see the wide range of host. After this, we have Streptococci dysgalactiae. This Streptococci dysgalactiae cause acute mastitis. Remember, this agalactiae cause chronic mastitis. This dysgalactiae cause acute mastitis. This is important. And the common habitat of this dysgalactiae is buccal cavity and vagina, and the main host is cattle. After this, very important, most important pathogen is Streptococci equi. The usual habitat is upper respiratory tract and Gutler's pouch. So what is Gutler's pouch? Gutler's pouch, basically they are large auditory tube diverticulum, and they contain air between 300 to 600 ml. Okay, and they are present in odd-toed mammals. So this is known as Gutler's pouch. You should refer to your anatomy. Okay, anatomy book for the detailed description of this Gutler's pouch. So this Gutler's pouch is the usual habitat of this bacteria, and this bacteria cause strangles. This strangle is very important, very important. This cause strangle and purpura hemorrhagica in case of equines or horses. Next we have Streptococci suis. Streptococci suis, usual habitat of this bacteria is tonsils and nasal cavity, and this may cause septicemia, and the usual host is pigs. Next we have Streptococci canis, and the usual habitat is vagina and anal mucosa, and the disease caused by Streptococci canis is neonatal septicemia, suppurative condition, and toxic shock. And generally this toxic shock and septicemia occur in case of puppies or neonates. Okay, and the host are carnivores. Now we have different lens-filled group and hemolysis produced by different bacteria, but you should remember only some bacteria and some lens-filled group of these bacteria. Okay, because there is a huge variety of this, and we cannot remember all bacteria's hemolysis and lens-filled group. Okay, so you should remember only some selective bacteria like Streptococci pyogenes comes under the lens-filled group A, and it produces beta hemolysis. So this is the base. This is the main hemolysis produced on the blood agar. Okay, they may produce other hemolysis like Streptococci A galaxii mainly produce beta hemolysis, but this may produce alpha or gamma. Okay, so A galaxii produce beta, and this galaxia produce alpha, and equi produce beta, but they both come under the lens-filled group C. Okay, after this we have D, lens-filled group D. In lens-filled group D we have Streptococci suis, and this produce alpha hemolysin. In lens-filled group E we have Streptococci porcinus, and this produce beta hemolysin. In case of lens-filled group G we have Streptococci canis, and this produce beta hemolysin. We discuss about the strangles, which is most important disease in Streptococci genus. This strangle is caused by Streptococci equi, subspecies equi. Okay, and this is very important. You should remember the etiological agent of strangles. The strangles is a highly contagious and febrile disease, and the affected part in case of strangle is upper respiratory tract, and there is abscessation of regional lymph node in strangle. If I talk about the epidemiology, then the non-immune equidae of all ages are susceptible. So there is no age-specific susceptibility in case of strangles. Young horses are somewhat more susceptible as usual, and transmission is due to the purulent exudate. This purulent exudate is from the upper respiratory tract or from the discharging abscess which are formed due to this bacteria. The convalescent carrier state may occur in this, and this may occur in 4 weeks. So what is convalescent carrier? A convalescent carrier is that animal which may recover from the disease but still is carrier for the disease. And this convalescent carrier state can develop with bacteria present in the Gutler's pouch, and this is mild form in which the Streptococci equi present in small purulent foci. Okay, after this we have some clinical signs. In clinical signs there will be high fever and depression, anorexia, oculonasal discharge, lymph node swollen. There will be the swelling of lymph node of particularly head and neck, and submandibular lymph node may rupture, and purulent discharge is highly infectious of these submandibular lymph node. So this purulent discharge act as source of infection for other animals. Okay. After this we have Gutler's pouch empyema. Empyema means collection of pus in cavity. Okay, so empyema, Gutler's pouch empyema, pus in Gutler's pouch is very common in this, and morbidity rate is 100%, whereas mortality rate is around 5%, or you can say less than 5%. After this we have some complication in this like pneumonia, neurological involvement, and asphyxia. And one of the most important complication is bastard strangles, in which abscessation develop in many other organs, and it is a serious complication which occur in 1% affected animal. Incubation period of this disease is 3 to 6 days, and if I talk about the diagnosis, then clinical sign, history, and PCR. You can go for PCR for asymptomatic carrier. If I talk about the treatment and control, treatment, administration of penicillin is used for this treatment. No benefit of antibiotic therapy is if abscess have formed, so there is no benefit for the antibiotic therapy. Isolation, clinical suspected animal, and quarantine period is 10 days for this disease. A vaccine is also developed, inactivated vaccine, but its efficacy is questionable. Okay. After this, we have predisposing factor like overcrowding and mixing of different age groups. Next disease we have is Streptococcus suis infection. So in Streptococcus suis infection, this may cause meningitis, arthritis, septicemia, bronchopneumonia. So these signs are very common, and sometimes sporadic cases are also occur, in which you will find endocarditis, neonatal death, and abortion. So these are sporadic cases, but meningitis, arthritis, septicemia, and bronchopneumonia, these are very common in case of Streptococcus suis infection, and this is caused by Streptococci suis. Next we have epidemiology. In epidemiology, the asymptomatic carrier pig harbor Streptococci suis in the tonsillar tissue, and this may act as source of infection for other animals. Next we have a predisposing factor. Predisposing factors are very important because this may prevent the disease. Okay, if you remove these predisposing factors. Predisposing factors include intensively rearing, overcrowding, poor ventilation, other stress factor. So all those factors which provide stress to animal act as predisposing factor for any disease. Okay, so and these overcrowding and intensively rearing are general predisposing factor for many diseases. Next we have clinical sign. Clinical sign include fever, tremor, incoordination, convulsion, and opisthotonous condition. Tremors means involuntary shaking, okay, and opisthotonous condition means spasm of the muscle causing backward arching of the head, neck, and spine. As in case of severe tetanus, the animal arch his or her neck towards back. Okay, so that condition is known as opisthotonous condition. Next we have note. So this Streptococci suis can infect human which are in close contact with pigs, okay, like in piggeries, and it can infect cattle, small ruminant, horses, and cats. Next we have control. These bacteria may become endemic, and the only control measure is improved husbandry by avoiding the predisposing factors. Next we have treatment. Treatment is general antibiotic treatment like penicillin, ampicillin, and prophylactic measure include penicillin injection to sow 1 week prior to farrowing. 1 week prior to farrowing, okay, and to piglet first 2 weeks of life. So this is the prophylactic measure. Now we have third disease, and this is bovine streptococcal mastitis. This bovine streptococcal mastitis can be caused by 3 agents: Streptococci agalactiae, Streptococci dysgalactiae, and Streptococci oberis. But the most important are 2, Streptococci agalactiae and dysgalactiae, because oberis cause mastitis without clinical sign. And the important point here is that Streptococci agalactiae cause chronic mastitis, whereas Streptococci dysgalactiae cause acute mastitis. So this is important, and you can diagnose this mastitis by clinical sign. Clinical sign include inflammation of mammary tissue and clots in the milk. Next we have, you can also diagnose this by culture, and culture should be on blood agar, either on blood agar, Edward medium, or McConkey agar. You can use these medias. After this culture should be the condition should be aerobic and 37 degrees Celsius temperature for 24 to 48 hour time. For differentiation of mastitis producing streptococci, we have CAMP test, and this CAMP test is very important. Very important. The full form of CAMP test is also important, and the full form of CAMP test is Christie, Atkins, Much, and Peterson. Christie, Atkins, and Much, Peterson. Okay, so this is confusing and important, and you can also go for sugar fermentation test. So we'll discuss about the CAMP test. What is CAMP test actually? This CAMP test is very important. Remember this CAMP test, okay? In CAMP test, what we do, we basically want to know about the Streptococcus agalactiae, right? And we make a streak of Streptococci agalactiae vertically, and horizontally we make a streak of Staphylococcus aureus. Okay, Staphylococcus aureus, not Strepto 1. It is Staphylococcus aureus, and this is Streptococci agalactiae. So what will happen, as we have already discussed, that Staphylococcus aureus produce hemolysis. Okay, and this produces double hemolysis, means the narrow zone of complete hemolysis and wider zone of incomplete hemolysis produced by Staphylococcus aureus. But Streptococci agalactiae also produce hemolysis, but there is a reason where the hemolysis produced by both the bacteria, and here is characteristic peculiar characteristic shape is there, which is arrowhead, and here complete hemolysis occur. So this is a characteristic feature, and this media is sheep or ox blood agar. So Streptococci agalactiae elaborate or release some factor which completely lyse the RBC. This is important, which completely lyse the RBC, which are already damaged by the beta hemolysis of Staphylococcus aureus. This Staphylococcus already damaged some RBCs which are present here. Okay, and this Streptococci agalactiae also produce some factor which will further damage these damage RBC. Those are present here. Okay, so then what will happen? Staphylococcus aureus produce a characteristic clear arrowhead pattern of complete hemolysis. So this arrowhead pattern is formed, and this is peculiar character of this test. Among all bovine streptococcal mastitis agent, only and only Streptococci agalactiae give positive chem test. So this is very important. This shape arrowhead, and only Streptococci agalactiae give this test. Now we will discuss about some important images and look at the actual images of some bacteria in this group. So first, at the beta hemolytic streptococci on the sheep blood agar. As we know that the most common bacteria in this group which produce beta hemolysin is Streptococci equi. So this produces beta hemolysis, and as we know that beta hemolysis in Streptococci group is complete hemolysis, and it produces clear zone around the colonies, which you can see that there is complete hemolysis and clear zone around the colonies is produced. Next, we have alpha hemolytic streptococci on sheep blood agar. As we know that in case of streptococci, alpha hemolysin is partial or incomplete hemolysis, and it is indicated somewhat greenish zone. Okay, after this we have close-up colonies of Streptococci equi, subspecies equi, and as we know that they are beta hemolytic in nature. This is very important, that Streptococci equi are beta hemolytic. Okay, but you can see that there are certain greenish hemolysis. So what are these? These are nothing but these are you can say that these are contaminant. Okay, so this is only Streptococci equi which produces beta hemolysis. Okay, and the greenish type hemolysis or alpha hemolytic Streptococci are contaminant in this. After this we have, this is latex agglutination test which I have discussed. In latex agglutination test we discussed that Streptococci may come in different group. Like A, B, C, D, F, G. There is no E. You have noticed that E is not present in this group. Okay, A, B, C, D, F, E, and I have discussed that in agglutination the bacteria will come under that group in which agglutination occur. So in this figure you can identify that which that bacteria comes in which group. So you can see that in other like A, C, D, F and G there is no agglutination. You can see that there is no granule formation, but in case of B there is agglutination. So we can say that this bacteria belongs to Lancefield group B because there is agglutination in this B. Okay, after this we have next image, and this is the image of Streptococci equi, subspecies equi. This Streptococci equi form long chain of as we know that it is gram positive cocci, but this form long chain, and this is characteristic of this bacteria. After this we have Streptococci equi, subspecies equi again, and this produce large mucoid colony and wide zone of hemolysis because it is beta hemolytic in nature. And mucoid, you can see that some mucus like colonies are formed due to this. And the most important thing is this is isolated from the bastard strangles. As we discussed that bastard strangle is a complication in strangles. Okay, and you can see that wide zone of hemolysis is present in this. After this we have mucoid colony of Streptococci pneumonia. You can see that mucoid colony, and they produce alpha hemolysis. Next we have non-mucoid colony of Streptococci pneumonia, and they also produce alpha hemolysis. Next we have the most important thing, that is the CAMP test. CAMP test is very important, and as we have discussed that one streak of Staphylococcus aureus, one streak of Streptococci agalactiae, and there will be arrowhead. This is the peculiar character, arrowhead. So this arrowhead is produced. Okay, so this is streak of Staphylococcus aureus. This is a streak of Streptococci agalactiae, and when they meet this area, the RBC present in this area form a characteristic you can say shape, and this shape is arrowhead. This is very important. Remember this CAMP test. Okay, with this our Streptococci genus is end here, and this much for this video. Thanks for watching this video. If you like, then please press the thumbs up and subscribe to Vet Study.